let's talk about the Premier League. Let's talk about the Premier League. It's back. Feels like it's been a while, but it's only been what? It's only been a week. It's only been a
Maybe
week.
a week and a bit, yeah.
Week and a bit, man. But there's some good fixtures. I mean, I'm just looking at the fixtures now. We got early kickoff on Saturday is Wolves versus Liverpool. We've got a couple of 3 p.m.s, which is Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, Fulham versus Luton. Your boys United against Brighton. That's going to be a very good game, hopefully. With both teams obviously needing points. Tottenham, Sheffield United, West Ham versus Man City, and then the late kickoff on Saturday is Newcastle versus Brentford. And then we go into Sunday's fixtures, which is Bournemouth versus Chelsea, and then Everton versus Arsenal. And I think there must be one on Monday as well.
I think there is.
There is, yeah. Forest versus Burnley.
Right.
Some tough games there. Let's talk about your game obviously first. United Brighton, big game. Matoma, Ferguson. Yeah, what are you thinking? Because I mean, it's a game that, I mean, on paper, you can't really call it, but I think United should win that. I don't know if you agree.
I'm nervous. I'm very nervous because the way we've played in the last 3-4 games.
That big sign.
We haven't been convincing. We've lost both away games. The first game at home at Old Trafford where we beat Wolves, very unconvincing. Wolves could have scored 4, 5, 6 goals.
Yeah.
They missed so many clear-cut chances. Nottingham Forest, the way we started that game, the first 45 minutes were poor. The second half, we leveled up, but that shouldn't be the story on a consistent basis. That we struggled by in our home games, and then we went away and just got dealt with. It shouldn't be the story. And Brighton are a team in form now. Obviously, it was pointed out to me yesterday that don't be too scared, don't be too worried, because obviously West Ham beat them. I'm like, West Ham beat them, but in the following week they beat Newcastle. So we're not talking about a team that's, had that one season of great form and suddenly they're crap now. They're a good team. They're a very good team. So I am worried, but I have to always bet on my team to win at home. I have to, and we've been good at home. We've got a great record at home. It's away from home where we're very shaky. So I'm at least glad that this is a home game. That said, I will point out that last season, before anyone says it to me, that last season Manchester United did lose at home to Brighton.
Yep.
Yes, I remember that because I was sitting in the stadium. I was there watching that live.
Very much so. Gross, I think 2 goals, Pascal Gross.
Pascal Gross, 2 goals.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the heavens, so I could see it like I'm watching Football Manager. I could see everything. I was just but I don't want to repeat that. I just don't want to repeat that. We got a lot of injuries to deal with.
Yeah, I was going to ask you
about that.
We
don't know what lineup we're going to have. We have a now absence of leave right winger for allegations. I'm not going to really go into those right now. So we don't know what's going to happen. Even Amrabat has been recalled from international duty because of injury, so we don't even know what his situation is either. It's non-stop with United. You'd think Man United are a flipping international country. The way we've been in the news during the international break is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's been mad. It's been a bit chaotic for the past 7 days or so, for right and for wrong as well. But no, I think it'd be a good game. I think, like you said, Brighton aren't a team that, like I was just saying about Japan, but very similar in terms of Premier League. There's certain teams that you can't just underestimate. And I don't think people do that with Brighton now. They kind of see them as one of those teams that you have to be serious about. Every game you got to be serious, but I think you got to be really serious about Brighton because they can hit you just like that without you even knowing that they're, the way that they play is very dangerous. So I think I'm looking forward to that game. I do think you should beat them. I do. I really do. Even with the injuries, I think this international break, sometimes it helps, goes one or two ways, doesn't it? Either helps the team kick on and kick them into gear, and then they just go on a really good run, or you get thrashed 5-0 and then you end up losing the next 2 after that as well, then head into another international break at the end of October. So, I mean, you should beat them. You should beat them. I'm confident with United. I'm confident with United for that one. But a good, tasty game as well. Wolves versus Liverpool. I feel like Liverpool. I don't know where I've got this from, but I feel like every time they play an early kickoff after an international break, they always lose. And
that might be a stat.
Yeah. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they don't have the best of records after an international break playing first. So, and I know Wolves are not playing well at all. I mean, they're 15th in the league, but I think Wolves can get something.
Oh, bro, I can't lie. Yeah, man. So if you said this question a couple of years ago, yeah. But
He's right.
since 2018, 2019,
They
if they
didn't.
come back from international duty, they've won 10 and they've drawn 2. No losses.
Okay. So my,
So
my facts was right, but then it got demolished after the 2018,
yeah.
2019 season. I remember I remember Klopp losing is cool because that was the whole thing about Klopp saying the international break there shouldn't be like 12:30 kickoff and and all that. He was kind of pushing for that, wasn't he? But yeah, I still think Wolves. I mean, I know that they're down there. You know, they've Gary O'Neill, their manager. I think I said when I think they played. I can't remember they played last, but I said they haven't really got a record. I think it was Palace actually. They haven't really got a recognised striker. But I think they can get something. They're at the Molineux Stadium. I always wonder with these. You know, I remember when we came back from international break a couple of years ago. We played West Brom. We got battered, got hammered. Literally after the international. So I think anything can happen, and I do think Liverpool again. They got the firepower. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Chelsea fan, and obviously I want to see Liverpool drop points. But you know, those games are tough. You know, and we'll have to see. Obviously, the Trent didn't play for England. He removed himself from the game, from the team. So you know he'll be fresh. You know, a lot of their players that did play, I'm sure they'll come back and they'll be fresh as well. So it will be an interesting game. Early kickoff there as well. The final one on a Saturday that I'm looking forward to is Newcastle Brentford. That's the 5:30 kickoff. The reason, very good game. The reason I'm looking forward to that is because obviously we've seen Newcastle, who I think I'm going to ask you in a sec, but I feel with Newcastle they're doing very well now, and Brentford are as well, and that's without Ivan Toney. They're doing okay, but when the Champions League kicks in, I do think Newcastle might struggle a little bit. I do, because I think they're not used to that run of games in terms of, you know, playing the Champions League, then playing on the Sunday, then making sure your squad's, I mean, they've got a good squad, let's be honest. They've got a squad that can compete in Europe, but it's even worse if they come out the Champions League and then they have to go and play in Europa and play in some dead team that just no one really, you know what I mean? So they got to fly to somewhere, then fly back. You're nodding because I feel like this sounds all familiar to you.
All too familiar.
But do you think they'll struggle? Do you think they might struggle when the European kicks in as well, the European football?
A little bit, but I think the first period of the season is the best time to manage it. In terms of you get your group games done by, I think, November/early December.
Yeah. Before,
so there's a nice period. You got 6 extra games in between there and between now and the beginning of December, added to your Premier League games. And I think this is where they learn about priority, because it's not to say that you should demote any trophy lower than the other, but if you really want to do well in Europe and in the league, you may have to sacrifice the other 2 domestic trophies. It's part and parcel of the process. It is what it is. Obviously, their ambition is there, and I think they have the right ambitions to try and win everything they can. You know, I don't think they're expecting to win a title this year. But obviously, they finished in the top 4. They're feeling quite confident about themselves. They're doing very well. They added someone like Tonali to their team. So you got a lot of quality, you know, in a bun. Wait, they play AC Milan, don't they?
Their group's a mess. This is why I'm saying they might struggle, because I think they've got PSG, AC Milan. Yeah. They got the group of death, basically. So, and to be fair, they're not doing well. I literally just checking now. They're 14th. They've played 4 games. This is in the Premier League. They've won 1, lost 3. They've scored 7 and conceded 7 goals. So I think they're not doing well already in the league. Already, I know it's only 4 games in, but when those games come in and you're playing PSG and then you've got AC Milan, I think they're gonna want to try and put on a show for the fans and want to try and go as far in the Champions League as possible. So I think they might neglect the league at some point.
I mean, maybe. I mean, the reason I asked that is because Tonali didn't want to leave AC Milan in the first place, and his first game back in Europe,
it's going to be
them. That's a bit peak. But you're right. You're right.
A bit of a coincidence.
But you're right though, and I don't disagree. I actually fully agree. And the reason why I fully agree is because looking at how you mentioned the squad, I'm thinking about the squad now, And it's like on the right side, I think the right side is poor because it's Almiron or Jacob Murphy.
Yeah,
And if they're going to become consistent Champions League, Premier League teams, that's not to say these guys are bad players. It's just that they're not of the level required, in
yeah,
my opinion, to go, past that stage. Callum Wilson's getting older. He's still very good, but he's getting older. Obviously, they got Isaac, so it's not a bad thing. But
yeah,
you
yeah,
might want to improve in that department as well. And as well as he has done for Newcastle and has improved his game, I still feel they need to improve on Fabian Shaw. They
oh
need to
yeah,
improve on
hundred
him.
percent, 100%.
Improving because Botman's really good. Dan Burn at left back is a solid defensive left back. He's okay going forward, but sometimes defensive is better. Obviously, they got Lewis Hall from you guys because he's a Newcastle born and bred boy. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's a different that was a different kettle of fish for him. That's why he made that move. Trippier at right back, and they got Livramento from Southampton.
good
So
signing.
they've actually bought quite well. The squad's not bad. I just think if they're gonna do if they have expectations or ambitions should be the word ambitions to get into the knockouts and get another year in Europe, hopefully in the Champions League for them anyway. Especially with now it being, I think, a top 5 finish because next year the format changes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then it's possible. It's possible,
Mm.
but I worry about the League Cup, FA Cup situation because I just don't know if they've got the squad to balance everything just now. That's my only thing. But Newcastle will continue to spend money, and rightfully so. They've got the money to spend, so spend it. I don't use the term checkbook manager. So if Eddie Howe wants to spend 400 million next year, so be it. Run your money, King. Do your thing. You know what I mean? So do your thing. But it's just those 2 trophies in particular worry me. Because Newcastle also are a club that respect the domestic trophies, and I think they'd want to win the FA Cup at least. So
Yeah, they were
who
close
knows?
last.
But,
They were close last season as well.
yeah, they were. They
Yeah,
were.
so
So who knows? But let's see how they do in the first 3 Champions League games before we see what I hate that word, but I'm gonna use it. Their ceiling is for the season.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Let's see
yeah.
where they go from there. But yeah, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be okay, personally.
We have to see. We'll have to find out. Can Eddie Howe do it? But 2 good games. Well, I say good. I think the Sunday afternoon, the later kickoff would be good. But obviously before that, 2 p.m. there's Bournemouth versus Chelsea. 2 teams that I just don't know. I mean, obviously Bournemouth for Bournemouth. If I'm honest, we don't have the best of records at their ground. I'll be the
Do you not?
vitality. No. That one I
Damn.
can definitely vouch for. I can vouch for that one. We do not have. We normally get thrashed by them, or at least beaten by them. I'm just trying to think now. Actually, what is the record there? I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the head-to-head right now.
Yeah, we don't have
record against Chelsea.
we don't have the best of the records there. I'm sure.
Oh wait, it's taking me back to. Okay, so last year you got a win there, but before that, wow, they beat you 4-0 there.
Yeah, 4-0.
Wow.
Then we won 1-0. Well, we got an all right record, but
No, they beat you 1-0 in December as well. Whoa.
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Whoa, okay.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
see what you're saying.
So it's not the best of records there, but I mean, look, we should be again. I keep doing this, but we shouldn't even be talking about we can't beat Bournemouth or we shouldn't be struggling against Bournemouth. I think we have a squad that can compete. I just think the manager has to get it right, and all this Chilwell at left wing, playing him as a winger, it's not working in my opinion. And Colwell playing as a left centre back isn't working, and I get why, because you want to try and accommodate the fact that you don't really trust your centre backs without Thiago Silva being in there. But it's a shame because I was reading about Trevor Chalobah, who apparently has been told that he hasn't got a future at the club anymore. Yeah, it's because they wanted him to go. I think he wanted the Bayern Munich move nearly happened. It didn't happen, and then I think Nottingham Forest came in at last minute transfer deadline day to try and sign him. He didn't want to go there, so he's kind of just been left in limbo. But I do feel sorry for him because I think again this is a kind of game where if you don't trust your centre backs, you've got Trevor Chalobah that can, we were unbeaten at one point under Trevor Chalobah.
He's really good.
He doesn't put in poor performances. He's got the odd mistake in him, but they're very few and far between. And show me a centre back that doesn't have mistakes in them. So it's a strange one for me. Got players coming back from injury. Carney Chukwuemeka's back in training now, so I wouldn't expect to see him on Sunday, but it's good to see him back in. Reece James, I think the same, back in training. So, but Malagusto's been playing well there. I think for me, one of the things that really lightened my eyes up last night as I was reading the Athletic was I forgot completely that obviously we've got African Cup of Nations January to Feb, and I think the Asia Cup is, if not in between that, is after. Now Nicholas Jackson will be at the African Cup of Nation. Now that kind of made me stay awake for an extra hour because I was thinking, well, he needs to find his scorer boots now, because when we get into the situation in January, should Armando Broja not be fully fit or he has a recurring injury or whatever, we ain't even got a striker unless we go into the transfer market. But
yeah,
he needs to, I mean, I want to see more from Jackson. I want to see more from him. You know, he had a poor game before he went on international duty and missed what some people would call a sitter, but there has to be more. Looking forward to seeing Cole Palmer. I want to see him start the game against Bournemouth. I want to see Raheem Sterling, who again wasn't in Southgate's plan, so he should be fully fresh and ready to go. But yeah, Bournemouth is not an easy task, especially away. So we'll have to see. But the game that I am looking forward to on Sunday, and I'll get your thoughts now, is Everton versus Arsenal at Goodison Park. So cast your mind back, 16-year-old Wayne Rooney, David Seaman's in goal, that brilliant goal. But yeah, what's your thoughts on the game? Because obviously it should be a game that Arsenal should win on paper based on how both teams are playing. But Everton look good. They look okay, and they've got Beto, who seems to be trying to I don't know, galvanize the team a little bit.
Let me tell you why Everton can win this game. Because now, when you said it, I was thinking you might talk about this game, so I was doing a quick head-to-head search, right? If you look at the last couple of games that they've had, Arsenal beat them 4-0 last year at Emirates, but before that, Everton, in February, Everton beat them 1-0. Previous season, Arsenal thrashed them 5-1 at the Emirates, but went Everton and lost 2-1. Season before that, Everton did the double over them. Season before that, Everton got a 0-0 draw at home and then lost 3-2 at Arsenal. But even before that season as well, at Everton won 1-0. So it seems like Everton have a stranglehold somewhat, with maybe one or two losses at home in the last, let's say, 5-6 years against Arsenal. So it's not inconceivable to say that Arsenal might be in trouble. The thing about Everton, a club like Everton, which is annoying, and you'll know this, and I'll know this, is even when Everton are showing no form, they find a way to just get a win like that out of nowhere. You talk about Arsenal, that win I was talking about away from, at Goodison Park last season. Arsenal were the better side, better informed side, went into the game with confidence, and then Demarai Gray in the last minute out of nowhere scored a stunner. I can go back to even when they weren't so good in the 11-12 season and were beating them 4-1 or 4-2, and then out of nowhere they pulled it back and made it 4-4, and they just became monsters again on the pitch. And they've caused you guys some trouble in the past as well.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure. Like, they've done it to everyone. The only team they haven't really caused trouble is Liverpool, because Liverpool always try to boy them off. But even once in a while, that's someone like Phil Jagielka scoring a 93rd minute blast off from 35 yards into the top corner. They are one of those teams that they'll go against teams around them and struggle to win. They look clueless going forward, but then they play one of the big boys and it's like, yeah, just for one time only, we'll give you a performance. So I'm not going to call. Actually, if you ask me for a prediction, I might give something that will shock some people, because I know Arsenal are the informed side, but if you really think back to history and how it's been between these two teams, it's not crazy to say Everton can beat Arsenal.
That's what I'm saying.
Not crazy.
No, it's not at all. Not at all.
At all. So, yeah. Actually, I am very much looking forward to this game now.
See what I'm saying?
Very, very much looking forward to this game. This could be a very tricky one for Arsenal. They're confident, and it's good that they're confident because they deserve to be. But Everton can beat you again. It's not. You know what? Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to this game. I'm looking forward to this game.
I agree with you, and I mean, like I said, Arsenal they've got the quality in them. They're obviously playing a lot better than Everton. I think Everton is still pushing up the table, really. I think they're 17th, I think, at the moment. 18th. 1 point, no wins. But I think Dyche will get this right, or he has to get it right. I think he has to. I think, they can't be sitting there at Christmas still, 2 or 3 points on the table. They have to be picking up points, and I'm not saying they should do that against Arsenal, but I just think sometimes, like you said, when it comes to like the bigger teams or the teams where they expect to lose, they get a result, whether that's a draw, they get the win, but they always fight a little bit harder. And I find with Goodison Park, because by going there a couple of times as well, that the noise in that stadium, that like it's unbelievable. Like, I know people say, oh, it's just a stadium, but when you go there, going there as a player must be mental to go there as the away team, because the noise that they generate, they don't stop to the 90th minute. And I think that's why sometimes they get those 93rd winners, or they get those mad rockets from 30 yards out, because the crowd is just on top of you when you're there. So I think it'd be difficult for Arsenal. And like I said, when you come back from an international break or international matches, you don't know what how your players coming back, whether they're coming back with a little niggle, or they're just tired from the international games or whatever. So we're talking about Arsenal. Some of them had to fly, South America or whatever, and they're probably flying back today, tomorrow. So I just think it's there for the taking. I really do. I think Everton need points. Arsenal need points as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But this early in the season, if they get a result like that against Arsenal, that should then kickstart their season, because they had a really good preseason. They didn't. I don't think they lost any games preseason. They had some played like Sport in Lisbon and some other teams, but they got to kick on now for the season, because if they don't, and they're down there at Christmas and they're 10 points or something, or 6 or 7 points, I don't see Everton staying up. I really don't. I really, really don't, because I think that their games, the games that they should win, like no criticism to them, but like Luton or Forest, they should be winning them.
Yeah.
But those are the games that I think they're struggling. I think these big games, these Arsenal games, they might underestimate them. I think, but it's just Everton, and this is the games they need to kick on from the start and just press Arsenal, just press them, just give them something to think about in the game. We'll have to see.
It's gonna be interesting. I can't lie. It's gonna be interesting, and I think Arsenal fans. I think obviously now they've improved the team. Declan Rice has come in. Kai Havertz has gone in there as well. So we're looking at that.
Well. Odegaard's had a good start to the season as well.
Odegaard started very well, actually. Yeah, you're right. I think they might lose this one. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'll tell you.
I'm just thinking about Everton. I'm not convinced by Everton's team whatsoever. This is not me trying to be some sort of, go against the grain kind of thing. I'm not convinced by their team, so I'm not saying this in the utmost confidence that they'll beat them. But I'm gonna say, if you ask me for a prediction, that they will beat Arsenal, because Arsenal have tended to go into these games, rightfully so, because they're in form, confident. But sometimes I feel like they underestimate Everton and expect to go there and get a win, and it seems like they're not learning their lesson. So yeah, man, I'm gonna go Everton for this one. Can't lie. It's interesting.
I agree. Even going back quickly just to the Fulham game, I think that ended 2-2. I think it was it was 2-1 to Arsenal. I think they scored very late on in that game, Fulham, to bring it back to 2-2. So and Ramsdale, I mean, everyone raves about him, everyone talks about him, whatever else, but I don't think he's that good of a goalkeeper. I think he's all right, but he's, again, both him and Pickford have got mistakes in them throughout. So I'm looking forward to that one. I'm hoping we get the 3 points against Bournemouth, and then I can sit down and relax and just enjoy that game. But Monday night, very quickly, Monday night, obviously, Forest versus Burnley. It's not a game that I'm expecting goals. I'm going to be honest. I don't think there'll be many goals in that game. I think Forest is just in talks with Jesse Lingard. I think he's training at the club at the moment with Forest, so they might re-sign him, which is a bit of a crazy one, because I know West Ham wanted him as well.
Yeah.
So, but Burnley, talk to me about Burnley very quickly. They obviously came into the league off the back of a really good championship run in terms of winning the championship and then coming up under Vincent Kompany, but they are struggling this season. They've obviously come back to reality in terms of the Premier League and what the expectations are there. But how do you think that game's going to pan out? Do you reckon there'll be many goals? Do you reckon Burnley can finally get the result that they need, get a win as well? Because they currently 3 games, 3 losses.
I don't know where their win comes from.
It's true.
I know, and I can appreciate what Kompany's trying to do. Obviously, he wants to continue his style of football. I applaud it, but this is where I criticize a lot of managers for not having a plan B. If it's not working, you need to find another way to win
Yeah.
fast.
True.
And wait, they're away for this one, aren't they?
Yeah, they're away. City ground.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's a tough one. Now, Seagrass not a fortress. Last season, the Forest just have some struggles at home, so we're not gonna sugarcoat it. But this is also a team that's also stayed in the league their first year back, and they have no intention of going back down right now. And they've bought some good players, and they're coming back from the international break with players like Sangare added in, Divock Origi added in. They've got firepower.
Yeah, I
They've got a
forgot
strong
about that.
midfield. You know what I mean? They bought with intent to stay. Then these are not players that are, you know how like back in the day, a team will get relegated and the team coming up will sign those players because of Premier League experience.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
they're not doing that kind of stuff. Sangare has been linked with so many good teams, and they've managed to get him in. That's a signing with intent to say we want to stay in this Premier League and get better. And even if he was to leave us, we're going to make sure that we get a nice profit for this player. That's the kind of stuff they're doing here. So yeah, Burnley just needs to be careful. Burnley have a good team. I was not completely sure why they went for Matson from you guys. Not that nothing to do with the player himself, but more in case of if you were to spend that kind of money, surely you should try and just add a bit more pieces.
Yeah,
elsewhere.
100%.
But
100%.
maybe again, football these days is not plan A, plan B, plan C in football matches for tactics, and it's not that in the transfer window either. If they don't get plan A, they have no plan B, C. They start to panic. That's how football is these days.
True.
So, if they didn't get Matson, then they just have to try and get someone else. But it'll be a rush. So, yeah, I'm not convinced by them. And we probably see them go back down. I was saying that quite early already, but yeah, I don't know where their win comes from.
Yeah,
I will say this though: the last time I said a statement like this on a podcast, this was about 6 years ago on a podcast called Shoot the Defense. I was on there with the boys from The Beautiful Game.
Yeah.
And still obviously hosting. And I said that about, I can't remember which team I said it about. I said about one of the teams, and that team went on to win 4-0 the very next week. So hey, if I'm saying that right now, and then they go sit ground and hit 4, so be it. It is what it is.
Talk some madness about Bournemouth, because Chelsea need a win.
Hey, boy. Well, you guys, I'm going to say this right now. I think, just for you guys, bro, I'm not going to lie, man. I think this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people. Go 4-2-3-1, and on that left side, start playing Mudryk.
Oh, that is mad. That is a mad.
You guys say that's mad. But start playing him. I think you give him genuinely. I hate the term confidence player, because I think every player needs confidence to play their game.
Yeah.
But he screams right now. He's screaming to me, looking like, I need the manager to actually look at me and say, I believe in you. Go out there and play football for me. Because when he came off the bench against Forest, all the touches looked like I don't want the ball touches. Like it looked crazy. The one that came across my head in particular, I think he had an attack or a corner, and the ball came sort of coming out, and he tried to control it or pass it to one of the players, but he passed it back.
Yeah.
Straight away.
No confidence.
Yeah, I looked at him. I said, "Yeah, man, you're signed out right now. There's nothing in you that wants the football." And I didn't watch him at Shakhtar, but the clips that we saw was a player that just wanted the ball at all times to beat 4 or 5 players. And he's strong, he's quick, on the ball in terms of his speed, he's agile. I think you have to give him a run. I'll say this about a lot of players though, because how do you expect a player to get into form if you're not giving them football? It doesn't make sense.
No, it's facts.
So I think you got to give him a run. But more than anything, change formation. I think if you change formation, go 4 at the back and overload that midfield and have 1 forward, I think you'll start doing what Chelsea should be doing, and that's smacking up teams.
Let's hope so. But interesting fixtures, obviously, some of the ones that we've spoken about. But if there's some that we haven't mentioned, and you've got your own take on them, drop them in the comments. Let us know your thoughts as well. Let us know your thoughts about who's gonna win this weekend as well. Your thoughts about Paul Pogba, Jadon Sancho, Frank Lampard being be linked with Leon. Hopefully he doesn't get that job. But just let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, like all that stuff. Make sure you go to Spotify and listen to the audio version of the podcast as well, and Twitter as well. Make sure you follow the account. Kojo, next week, same time. As always, man. Pleasure.
Always.
Yeah, man.
Always.
Thanks everyone for listening.